So today we're going to talk about processed foods and supplements and what constitutes a real food. So with that said, let's take a look at three different foods. On the one hand, we have whey protein isolate, we also have simple table sugar, and we have coconut oil. And what are each of these things? Well, they are food. I'm pretty sure that most people will agree to that. And even more than that, what they are the isolates of a particular macronutrient group. So with the coconut oil, we have an isolated fat. With the table sugar, we have an isolated carbohydrate. And with the whey protein isolate, we have the isolated protein. And from there, we get a higher concentrated portion of a given macronutrient with these particular isolated products. So for example, 100 grams of coconut oil is going to give you about 100 grams of fat, mostly saturated fat. And if you had 100 grams of an actual coconut, you would get a bunch of other shit in the mix, like carbohydrates, fiber, and all that good stuff. And with the whey protein isolate, if you were to get it from milk, if you have 100 grams of milk, you would then have less protein than the isolate. You would also have lactose in there for carbohydrates, and you would have a substantial portion of fat. And for the table sugar, about 100 grams gives you 100 carbohydrates. And it's about the same actually if you get it from sugar cane. And in fact, I think the sugar cane might have less overall per 100 grams, but the point is, these particular things, oh, and here's a fun fact, some people actually use coconut oil as anal lubricant for anal sex. Pretty awesome, right? So anyways, these particular products, to get them, to derive them, you have to process the food to get them. So what is a processed food? All it really means is a food that you change specifically and deliberately before eating it. So cooking is a process. Freezing is a process. When the pioneers traveled across America back in the day to preserve their meat, they would salt it and smoke it. These are all processes for various reasons. Now, when we take the milk and we take the coconuts and then we take the cane sugar, we're refining them and we're isolating them. So these are also processes too. So does that make these particular things bad foods? Not at all. Paleo people love coconut oil for whatever reason. It tastes good. I like it. It's pretty good. I like sugar because it makes Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola is great. And it's also good for coffee. And whey protein, try to find a lifter alive who has never taken a protein supplement. You could probably count them on one hand. And it's been researched heavily, whey protein has. And so I mean, we all know it's pretty good. The only one we really demonize is sugar, and that's erroneous in and of itself, but that's a completely different discussion. So now the question is, are these particular things real food? So what is a real food? A real food is something that provides nourishment in the form of energy. And yes, all these things will provide calories for your energy needs, including table sugar. So when should you use these particular things? And what makes it a supplement? Well, a supplement means to add to or to make complete. So if you're lacking something in your diet, you would supplement it to make it complete. So for instance, if you're having trouble meeting your protein needs, or you need more protein for whatever reason, you use the whey protein, you supplement your diet with it, you get more protein. If you have trouble getting your protein needs from real food, you can use the protein supplement to help with that. The same for sugar, the same for fat. If you have trouble getting fat, you can supplement it with the coconut oil. And in addition to that, it also, these isolated forms, they also, the bioavailability of them is increased when you have these things in their isolated form. Bioavailability is your body's ability to absorb that which you put in it, right? So a pill is not going to have as great of a bioavailability as sticking an IV in your arm, which would be 100% bioavailability. So the whey protein has a better bioavailability than, let's say, eating a piece of cheese or eating a piece of milk. The same with table sugar, right? And in addition to that, the things you combine it with will affect that. So if you take fiber, if you have enough fiber, it blunts the absorption of the sugar, decreases its bioavailability after time. So, for instance, the old wisdom of drinking a protein shake after your workout, you use the whey protein and a simple carbohydrate because it becomes readily available for you to absorb right then and there. If you run like an ultra marathon or an Ironman race or something like that, you might want to err on the side of simple sugars for better absorption then and there because you just expended a fuckload of energy. So really, the when and the why depends on your individual needs. So you have to ask yourself these particular questions before you choose whether you're going to get a supplement or not. And if you haven't figured it out, a supplement is real food for the most part. So go visit all my websites and shit, and like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have a question.